Hey guys, what is going on? It is another day in the gaming world and other related worlds as well. But today is just gaming. So we're going to be talking about games today, of course. There's a few things. So let's start with... Okay. Oh, and I gotta here, and also I need to mute myself. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Like kick will unmute itself. Change category. Make sure that Twitch is not doing that too. Sure that YouTube is okay. Yeah, Twitch is good. YouTube. Pop out chat. And okay. And there we have it. So what's up with gaming today? Well, we had this story here. I think I gotta go all the way down to... Alright, so yeah, we can start with this. Oh no, actually, but I wanted to go over here to... No, I thought I pulled out a start. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna leave this one actually for a bit later. But we're gonna be talking about... So analyst says, and let's take a look at the article here. Analyst says EA plans to milk Battlefield for everything it's worth. Quote, their goal is 3 studios making Battlefield on a 3-year basis, so they can get Battlefield annually, right? And if that rings any bells, that's exactly what Call of Duty does, right? And even Call of Duty has run. So Call of Duty has been doing this for a long time. Even before Call of Duty Modern Warfare, they used to have Infinity Ward, right? That was the main Call of Duty studio that made Call of Duty 1, Call of Duty United Offensive, which is one of the best Call of Duties. It was an expansion, but still. And Call of Duty 2, right? And then Treyarch, I believe, was making console versions of Call of Duty. I think they made Call of Duty Big Red One, which was a PlayStation 2 game. And they were also working on Call of Duty 3, right? And then after Call of Duty 3 came out, a year after that, we got Call of Duty 4, if my memory serves right. And that's how it would go. It would like flip where every game took 2 years to make, and every game you had, every year you had a new Call of Duty. And let me make sure I adjust this here on the camera. Oh no, that's bad, that's bad. This is good, this is good. Okay. Okay. Oh, that's not good. Actually, no. Do I set this to auto? Is that what that is? Okay. Is that okay? Let me just reset. Reset video settings, okay. And we go to, hey, I hit reset, but this isn't reset. That's weird. Okay. Well, let's just try to do this. All right, and now we'll try it. And we'll go to 5. That works. And we'll go to... All right, problem solved. Yeah. Okay, so. All right, so analyst says that EA plans to milk Battlefield for everything it's worth. Their goal is 3 studios making Battlefield on a 3-year basis, so they can get to Battlefield, I guess, so they can get Battlefield annually. And like I said, this is what Infinity Ward and Treyarch under Activision used to do. Treyarch would make the off-year games like Call of Duty 3 and some of the earlier console games. I believe they also made Call of Duty Big Red One. and Infinity Ward would make the main year games, which were the serious kind of like defining Call of Duty games, because Infinity Ward was the original creator, right? They were the original developer of Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 1 United Offensive, one of the best Call of Duties. But eventually they ran into issues where game development started taking longer and longer to get games out. This is a problem that we ran into. I mean, technically we've been running into this issue constantly. Like, it was easier to make games during the Atari 2600 days, when, you know, your games look like they look like, let's pull it up here. Let's pull up Pac-Man, or should we pull up that's Pac-Man Atari 2600. And this is a terrible version of Pac-Man, but I think this illustrates the point. So here we are. Here we are. Take a look at this. This is what games used to look like on the Atari 2600. If you're thinking something like a Super Nintendo, I mean like a Nintendo or a Super Nintendo, you thought wrong. You thought wrong. This is what gaming was in the 70s, you know, and the early 80s. Because, you know, we got our first consoles with the Magnavox Odyssey. That was in the 70s. And that's how games used to look. And games are easier to make back then. And then we got the Nintendo Entertainment era, which with the NES, and we had stuff like Super Mario Brothers. And all of a sudden, the graphics were so much better. I think the Atari is considered what is that, like second generation consoles, and like the Magnavox Odyssey was like first generation, and the NES and Master System were third gen. Okay, but this isn't even a real. This isn't even. You put NES, and they don't even give you. And that's a Nintendo Switch. What are you doing? What are you doing? Lying, you scammer. And this. We'll walk through NES gameplay. Okay, 27 million views. Wow. Okay. So is this it? Why is this like this? Oh, this is an emulator. This is some bullshit. This is an emulator. This guy's using a fucking emulator. Everything is smoothed out. He has a filter on it. But you get the point. This is what it used to look like, but worse, because they didn't have that fucking filter on. And you know, as you can see, there's more colors. Everything looks better. But games took a little bit longer to make during the NES era. And then when the Super NES came out, the Super Nintendo, they took longer to make. But it was still not that long. Hell, even in the PS2 era, while it took longer to make games back then, 2 years of development in the PS2 era gave you a triple A game. That's 3 times the ass. Right? That's a lot of video game. You know, you had games like, I'm pretty sure I think Devil May Cry 3 was 2 years. I think Metal Gear Solid 3 was also 2 years. So many games in the PlayStation 2 era only took 2 years to make, and back then, if a game you could pump out a game in a year, and those games were the shitty ones because they were rushed, right? And typically those games were like your license game, like it's like, oh, your Chicken Little, the video game, or like freaking like Toy Story 2, the video game. Those games, they just shat them out really fast, and they were kind of crappy, but you know, you could do that in a year. Now you can't even do that. What's the average, like, look up how long it takes to make a licensed game now. Like, I don't know, right now I'm only thinking of Space Marine because it's a recent game, but there's no way it took 1 year for Space Marine to come out. There is no fucking way. Space Marine 2, right? I'm thinking also of that game, the fucking I don't know why it just came up in my head. This was Marvel Ultimate Alliance on the Nintendo Switch. This was one of the early Nintendo Switch games, but it was a licensed game by Nintendo, which is weird. They licensed the Marvel let me see, Alliance Switch. It was Marvel Alliance, yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And this was a Nintendo game. Nintendo made this. There's no way that this game took a year to make, right? Like, look at this shit. Look at this. You know? And so Call of Duty ran into issues where it took so long for games to be made that their little 2 year window where Infinity Ward makes a game in 2 years, and then Infinity Ward will release their game on their on year, and then by the time that the off year comes out next year, right, Treyarch will have their game ready. That wasn't working anymore, so it needed to bring in a third studio, right? And then what's happened is since then, especially in the PS4 era, they've ran into a lot of issues with that. So even that's not enough, right? There was a certain point where they came in and brought in like Raven, and then they had Sledgehammer Games, and they had all these studios involved in developing Call of Duty because it just wasn't enough. And Assassin's Creed also ran into this issue to the point where Assassin's Creed is no longer a yearly franchise. Ubisoft just couldn't even pull it off anymore, despite having a bunch of studios making that game. So I think them thinking to themselves, we'll give each other 3 years. I think that's the old way of doing it. If I were EA, like no shit, like I'm just thinking business. I'm not thinking game quality right here. I am a Battlefield fan. I like Battlefield games, but you know, in terms of the business, I'd say they'd be better off having 4 fucking studios, and each studio would have at least 4 fucking years to make their game. That's how I would fucking do it, because I bet you they're gonna run into issues. I bet you 3 years is not gonna be enough. I bet you this is gonna be a fucking disaster, because if fucking Activision, who was the master of getting Call of Duty games out every year, ran into fucking issues. If fucking Activision, Bobby Kotick's Activision ran into issues, you fucking know that EA is gonna fucking stumble and fall and fucking mess this up. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. Now, in terms of quality, right? We're thinking about like obviously, Battlefield 6 is coming out. You know, like yeah, the trailer. I played it on PS5, the beta of this, and I had fun. I played on both weekends. It was fun. But you know, like it just, to me, like obviously this feels like a return to form, and this feels like something that they've taken their time on. Like Battlefield 5 came out in 2018, so this took 6 years. This has been in production in some way, shape, or form for wait, no, is it? Yeah, it'll be 19. Yeah, this 6 years. Damn. How the fuck are they gonna do a Battlefield in 3 years? Not only that, those Battlefields are gonna be on PlayStation 6. That in making PlayStation 6 games is gonna take even longer, because the more complicated, the more powerful the console, the longer it takes to make games. So like, I feel like EA right now, there was some fucking a news article that came out of claiming like there was somebody at DICE, somebody at EA, who said that EA execs were aiming for 100 million players. 100 million for Battlefield 6. This is a $70 game. And I think that they're making some sort of battle royale, and I think that the battle royale mode is going to be free to play. But even then, 100 million? Fucking Call of Duty doesn't do 100 million players for one, like, for one game, for one of their games. How much did... Okay, let's take a look at this. I kind of wish I would have picked a gameplay trailer, actually, instead of this story shit. But let's take a look this here. So let's pull this up on... let's see. Warzone... How about this? Should we put Warzone player milestone? Total player count? Like total players? Player record. How about player record? Usually that's when they announce it, whenever they say like player record has been broken. Call of Duty, this isn't what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for the players today or how many people are gaming today. I'm looking how many like they did it at their peak. Fudge. Yeah, they don't. This is like fucking recent. This is fucking recent shit. You know, Warzone. Okay, what about this? Warzone breaks player record. Records, I guess. How about that? Well, okay, here we go. Warzone celebrates personal records breaking. What records? Where's the number? What the fuck? What is this? Personal record impressed 34 kills in a game? Come on, man. That's not what we're talking about. Oh. Alright, fine. I think I'm about to give up. We're We're trying one more. How about we do... Should I just click on this live player count thing? So, let's see. So it says here, COD Warzone stats, current value, 50,000 players on PC. And 2025 peak players, 114. Total rich, okay. All right, fine. There it is. This is good. This is what I was looking for. Over 100 million. All right. Warzone did it. Warzone 1 did it. I don't think this is including Warzone 2, right? This is just Warzone 1. But Warzone 1 did it, and they're aiming for Warzone. Right? Fucking... Okay, I'm pretty sure about this. Apex Legends didn't reach 100 million registered players, right? Did it? I don't think it did, because Apex hasn't done as well. Even their like mobile version like bombed. And I've played Apex. I've had fun playing Apex, but Apex players, yeah, peak, registered. Let's put registered. Yeah, registered, peak registered. Let's see what player count. Peak of, so they had a peak of 153,000 concurrent players, but that's not what we're looking for. And that was on Steam. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard. It seems hard to find it. Like the Apex Legends is all okay. Here we go. All-time player peak. Thanks to Revelry. So it reached. Oh, this is on Steam. This is just on Steam too. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Okay, we're just gonna ignore Apex then. I don't think Apex is anywhere near as popular as Warzone. I'm like 100% sure about that. But they're aiming for Warzone. They're aiming for Warzone level success. Warzone 1, they're not getting it. Like, I just don't fucking see it. Like, Battlefield has never done as good as Call of Duty. They've always been behind. Even at their best with Battlefield 1, they were still behind Call of Duty. So I think this is like that 100 player shit where it's just like, we're going to shoot for the sky. So let's put it right here. Battlefield 6, 100 million players, right? Let's put it right here. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So Battlefield 6 aims for 100 million players with bold new strategy. There it is. There it is. So like they're going to try and they're going to be doing a bunch of shit. Like I said, there's a battle royale that they're trying. You know, they have like a big marketing campaign, all of this and that. But that doesn't guarantee that they're going to succeed. Remember, they made a battle royale for Battlefield 5 and they were hoping that was going to be big, and like fucking nobody played it except for me. So like, yeah, this whole, oh, we're going to be making a Battlefield game every year. This is not going to go that well. I don't think so. Yeah, so this is like Michael Pachter here talking about it. I talked to Byron Bede, good dude, former Activision guy, worked at Infinity Ward with Vince Zampella. So he's running the Battlefield franchise now, and their goal is 3 studios making Battlefield a 3-year. I mean, it's good for money. Good for money. And you know what? Honestly, I'm kind of happy because personally, I played Battlefield 6. I'm kind of disappointed. I like the game. There's a lot of things I like about the game. But one of the things is Battlefield has always had amazing graphics. DICE has always pushed PC gaming and PC graphics like mega hard, right? Battlefield 3 looked incredible in 2011. Just fucking incredible. And it was 64 players all jam-packed into these fucking maps. And the PS3 and 360 couldn't handle it. The PC could do this shit at 60 FPS, you know? And DICE was just like, we're going to push PC GPUs and we're going to have higher settings. And everything is going to be better. Sorry, I was hearing something. And I was hearing, and you know, I'm sorry. I was sorry about that. And you know, and that game ran well. It looked fucking gorgeous. It looked better than any console game, any multiplayer console game that had released at the time. You know, Battlefield 4 also looked incredibly good. Battlefield 1 looked gorgeous. Battlefield 5 looked really good. In fact, Battlefield 5 was the first ray trace game. The first game with ray tracing in 2018, when people were playing God of War 2018, the first God of War, right? For the first of the new ones. And freaking, what was the other one? Spider-Man, the first Spider-Man on PS4. When people were playing those, PC was already fucking ray tracing. So like, and with Battlefield, right? And so The new Battlefield, just not that good looking. I mean, it's a good looking game. Don't get me wrong, it's a good looking game. But you know what? To me, it looks like a really good looking PS4 game. It looks like a PS4 game that just has everything cranked up. It doesn't. It is not really blowing the pants out of things like Dice does. This isn't like, you know, like think about it like this. Cyberpunk looks insane on PC with like the path tracing and all that. You know that when Cyberpunk 2 comes out and you pump that all the settings and everything, it is gonna look gorgeous, and it's probably gonna be one of the best, if not the best looking game out at that time. You just know it. You know when GTA 6 comes out, it's gonna look gorgeous because Rockstar really pushes graphics, right? Battlefield 6 is not giving that vibe. It's not really that it looks like a PS4 game that's really polished and really, it looks really nice for a PS4 game. That's one disappointment. The other disappointment for me is, well, the maps that they showed were all really tiny, and that's okay. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt because they said, hey, we chose the smallest maps because we want the Call of Duty audience or whatever, which is fine. It's fine. I don't have a problem with the maps. I just wish there would have been bigger maps in the beta. And I know there will be at launch. The other issue is there just wasn't that many vehicles, which is part of the problem with the maps. And there isn't anything new. There isn't any novelty in Battlefield 6. It just looks like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. There's, obviously there's jets, there's helicopters, there's tanks, like there is in freaking every Battlefield. There isn't even any behemoths like there was in Battlefield 1. When you would get like the train and shit, that you get this crazy ass fucking epic train, or you get that fucking flying blimp that's just massive, there isn't any of that. So like, I just feel like it has less. I feel like it's regressed. There's no Titan like there was in 2042. You had that giant fucking ship that was a Titan, and like the whole mode was like about trying to like get in that ship and kill everybody, and like this, like fucking kill the ship and blow it up from the inside or from the outside. Like there isn't anything like that. It's just, here's Battlefield 4 again, and with less maps and less everything, but now it looks like a really pretty PS4 game. Like that's the thing. Like where's the pizzazz? Where's the spice? Where's the freshness? That was my disappointment with Battlefield 6. The last one that I'll point out is the fucking destruction. Look, DICE has been pushing destruction. They've been trying to do that a lot in various ways. One of the things that they did that was great in Bad Company and Bad Company 2 in particular is they pushed destruction almost to the max. In Bad Company 2, you could basically destroy everything. You see somebody in a building, you could blow up the wall. You could blow up the foundations. You could watch the whole fucking building come down. You could blow, somebody's at the roof, you could blow the freaking roof off and they will come down. They'll fall down the building. It was so dynamic. It was like, this is like, wow, so this is the power of the Xbox 360 and PS3 at the time. Now games don't even do that. Like, we've regressed. We have less fucking destructible stuff, less interactivity in so many of these games. Look at the average Unreal Engine game. The average Unreal Engine game is fucking like static. Look at Avowed. Like, Avowed is so bad that fucking Oblivion in 2006 has more interactivity. Like, Avowed is so bad that they have to make, like, if there's like a box that you can destroy, pretty much all the boxes you can destroy, pretty much all the boxes in the game, all the barrels cannot be destroyed. But when there is one box that you can destroy, when there is a few, they have to make it shine. Like, it's like some Zelda chest that's like half open and like the holy legendary light is coming out of it telling you there's a legendary item or whatever in this. It's like that, but it's just a fucking box. And why do they make the box shine and luster and throw out this crazy lighting? Because they want you to know that it's destroyable. Like, you can actually whack it with your mace and break it. And that's for like 0.1% of boxes in the game. 0.1% of barrels in the game. It's just the 0.1%. And you know what? About is about whatever. Battlefield has had more destruction. But time and time again, they had insane destruction in Bad Company 2, and that was freaking awesome. Then they come in with Battlefield 3 and they say, well, guys, we pushed graphics to the max, so we couldn't really do destruction for this and that and whatever. It's like, okay, fine, fine, fine. Okay, at least we're getting 64 players again. At least we're getting jets again. At least we're getting, all these crazy like helicopters and all this stuff. I mean, there were some helicopters in Bad Company too, but those were not really as, they weren't like the full suite. Then Battlefield 4 is coming around, and DICE is like, guys, we heard you. There's destruction. You guys like destruction. We're going to give you the destruction. You know what they do? They introduce some bullshit called fucking Levolution. And Levolution is just a cinematic, basically scripted thing that happens the same every time. It is not actually dynamic. It is not like you can just blow up this part of the building and not that part. It's like if you trigger this event, if you blow up this one thing here, the whole building comes caving down. But it's always that same building. It's always that one part of the map. And it always blows up pretty much in the same way. Unlike Battlefield 4, which felt more, I'm sorry, Battlefield Bad Company 2, which felt more realistic because it's like you could blow up this wall of this building. You could blow up that wall. You could blow up the roof. You could not. You could, like, blow up the second floor instead. You could, do all this crazy shit. And the battlefield will be dynamically destroyed depending on, what people are actually shooting at. So you could, like, you could trace yourself back. Like you could go into like a new Battlefield match and see basically where the fights happen in Bad Company 2, because where the fights happen is where everything's blown the fuck up. That game was so epic, man. Like it was such an experience. Um so DICE goes, "Okay guys, we heard you. You guys didn't like Levolution. You want destruction that's more dynamic. So for Battlefield 1, the World War 1 one, um we are going to make it so that you can destroy things dynamically, but only like 0.01% of things. So it's like, oh, if you're like on the blimp, you can drop bombs or whatever, and the bombs will sometimes make depending on the floor that you're in, they'll make a small crater on the floor. And it's like, that's cool, right? That's cool. That's nice. Some parts of the map you can destroy just like a few things, but it wasn't, and it was more dynamic, right? But it was pretty much like 1% of the destruction that you had in Bad Company 2. So it's like, yeah, you gave us more dynamic destruction, but there's only like almost nothing is destructible, you know? And they're like, oh, well, we don't want the maps to be leveled and all this and that. But yeah, but you could level the maps in Bad Company 2. There was still cover, right? And you can make even more cover because now you have the hindsight of how things were in Bad Company 2. So then with Battlefield 5, same shit, right? With Battlefield 2042, they're like, guys, there's going to be destruction. And it's like, you can destroy some of the walls in 2042, but pretty much nothing else, right? Only just a couple of areas, right? And so they came in with Battlefield 6, and they say, guys, we heard you. After they've done this shit, this fucking song and dance so many times, guys, we heard you. We're going to get you destructible environments. I go in, I play the Battlefield 6 beta. You can destroy some buildings, some specific buildings, and they only destroy, like, so you shoot like an RPG at a building, and like it'll get like ever so slightly damaged, just ever so slightly. Then you shoot a second RPG round, and then the whole thing just blows up like you freaking nuked it. And it's not the whole building. It's actually just like, it's kind of like, what? How would this be? Imagine a banana, right? Imagine you shoot an RPG at a banana. Okay, well, when you shoot the RPG, the banana peel comes off. Some of the banana's still standing. You can still go in this building banana and do everything that you could pretty much do before for the most part. But the banana is now like a layer of the banana peel is gone. Right, and it makes this big dust thing, and like there's like rubble coming out of it, and some of the rubble can land on you and kill you, and that's cool. And then you realize that's pretty much it. That's it. Like, you can't do that with every building. You can't do that with every angle of the building like you could in Bad Company 2, right? You can't tumble down buildings, right? It's just this one specific sort of like canned animation that they have that can trigger whenever you throw 2 grenades or 2 RPGs or 2 tank shots or whatever at some buildings, at the side of some buildings. And when I saw that, dude, I'm just like, I mean, what else was I expecting? They pull this shit every time. They're never gonna be able to give us like actual dynamic, realistic destruction. Even, dude, I'm not even asking for the whole level to be leveled down. Like, you can have big buildings and shit still, but give us more. So, yeah, Battlefield 6, it's basically Battlefield 4 with like a little bit more destruction, you know, and better graphics and like way less content. That's what it is. So I'm not too crazy about it. I'm happier about this that they're going to be making more Battlefield games sooner. And why am I happy about that? Well, I'm happy about that because maybe then Battlefield 7 or Battlefield 8 or Battlefield 9 will actually have some satisfying destruction, some good destruction, some dynamic destruction that is closer to Bad Company 2. Maybe they don't go all the way to Bad Company 2 levels, but closer to that, like significantly closer. I want to be wowed, man. I want to see the power of these CPUs. Now, some people may be thinking to themselves, well, friend, like there's just no games like that. Uh, the finals, the finals was made by ex Battlefield developers. Key ex Battlefield developers. Developers that used to work on these golden era battlefields and used to like lead DICE. They left and they founded their own studio. So yeah, I think the studio is called Embark. And the finals has some of the most impressive like AAA multiplayer destruction I've ever seen. Like it is impressive. It's like they made it's almost like they made Bad Company 2, but like way bigger scale. Like you can destroy you can do the Bad Company 2 thing where like somebody's up top of you on like the second floor. You can RPG the freaking floor above you, and everybody that's on top of the floor will come crumbling down. Right? Like you can do that. You can break down all these different types of walls. You can just destroy these buildings in all sorts of ways. And now some of these buildings don't all come crashing down, but the level of destructibility is so dynamic and so intense. It is flat out impressive. So, yeah, I had a big grin on my face when I was playing the finals. I'm just like, "Oh my god, DICE did it." So, I hope that Battlefield goes even beyond the finals because Battlefield in the future because the finals doesn't have any vehicles. It doesn't have like tanks running around. It doesn't have like bombers that are bombing, you know, like planes that are bombing, doing bombing runs on the ground and shit like that. It doesn't have helicopters, you know. So like imagine more destruction with like more vehicles. That'd be freaking amazing. So yeah, I welcome this. I just don't know that they're gonna land it. So Gamescom happened last week, and you know, our one of people's favorites, certainly one of my favorites, studios from software, creators of Demon Souls and Dark Souls, and Elden Ring. They're porting Elden Ring to the Nintendo Switch too. Now, if you remember, the let's go ahead and move over there. Actually, I believe I have it open right here. So where is it? Right here. So the Switch one got Dark Souls 1 remastered. It did not, from my understanding, I'm pretty sure it didn't. It didn't get Dark Souls 2. It didn't get Dark Souls 3. It didn't get Sekiro. It did not get Elden Ring. It did not get Armor Core 6, which are all the games that From Software made after that, and Bloodborne, of course. But Bloodborne is a Sony game, so like, you know, From Software doesn't have ownership of it. Um, and so the game on the Switch One didn't run that great. I own it. I have it. It didn't run that great. I bought it for my girlfriend at the time because she was playing Dark Souls on my PC. And she really likes gaming on the Switch. So I was like, hey, I'll get you Dark Souls on the Switch. You know, but the game looks like shit. on Switch. Of course, surprise, surprise. And it runs like shit on Switch. And guess what? Dark Souls Remastered wasn't even made by From. I bet you that if From had made the game would run even worse. Why is that? Well, let's take a look at Elden Ring 2. I'm sorry, let's take a look at Elden Ring on Nintendo Switch 2, and let's see how good it's running. I think you guys can see where I'm going with this. Because if you guys remember, Elden Ring didn't run good on PS4. It didn't run good on PS5. It didn't run good on Xbox Series S or X, and it didn't run good on PC. You think you could get like a 5090 or something and like a 9800X 3D CPU and it would destroy Elden Ring. But no, somehow From Software finds a way. So let's take a look at the Gamescom demo here of Elden Ring. Let me turn it up a bit.
I have just got out of playing.
You will become Elden Lord. May you take the throne.
I have just got out of playing Elden Ring Tarnished Edition on the Switch 2. I have some.
Right, and before we do that, this is a classic V4. Forgot to turn off the music thing. Okay, so it's just the music. It's not very loud, so I can barely hear it. Okay. Let's go back from the beginning.
You will become Elden Lord. May you take the throne.
I have just got out of playing Elden Ring Tarnished Edition on the Switch 2, and I.
Tarnished Edition. Tarnished Edition. I mean, I know why it's called Tarnished, but it's like, why? Right? You see like a regular person just like go into like the GameStop or something and they see right there Elden Ring Tarnished Edition. It's like, why is it tarnished? What is this? Like, what is this? It's not it's not exactly the best, right? The most ideal name. It's like calling your product trash. But you know, maybe From was onto something when they did this. Maybe they were thinking like, oh well, you know, this is going to be a Nintendo Switch 2, and we can see how good the game runs there. Yeah, Tarnished Edition. That sounds perfect. That way, people can't sue us. If they try to sue us, we went, hey, we'll go. Look, guys, we said it was tarnished. We said it was bad. We said it wasn't ideal. You knew what you were getting into.
I have some bad news for those of you hoping for good performance in handheld mode.
Never.
Because the performance is not good.
This is never a thing. You could go back to Kingsfield, the first From Software game, and it's running on a PlayStation 1, and Kingsfield is running like shit in 1994 on a PlayStation 1. Bro. They later on got obviously they started making games on PlayStation 2 and their games ran like shit on PS2 too. Then they made Demon Souls on PS3 and Demon Souls ran like shit on PS3. Despite the PS3 being way more powerful than the PS1 and PS2, they still managed to get it to run like shit. They're like the Pokemon developers. They're like Game Freak.
The world is in dire need of repair.
So unfortunately, we weren't allowed to record any footage while we were playing on the Switch 2. But I'm going to talk through my experience with the handheld mode and just let you know how it handled on the Switch 2.
I wonder why they weren't allowed to record any footage. I wonder why. Why didn't the corporation let them record? What are they hiding?
And where the problems arose. Because the queue behind me is all for Hollow Knight Silksong, no one is actually playing Elden Ring 2 Tarnished Edition on the Switch yet.
I mean,
so we had to start from the very...
And to be fair, Hollow Knight Silksong has not come out. And Elden Ring's been out for like 3 years now. Right? It's it's not the same. Um, I did want to point out though, I'm being harsh on From Software and or whoever else is developing this. I think it's From Software. I'm being harsh, but like I said, I'm a big From fan. I've been a fan since Demon Souls on PS3. I was one of the people that signed the Dark Souls petition. Literally, I signed the petition in 2012 to get Dark Souls on PC. I was there, Gandalf. I was there supporting From Software. And I bought it. I pre-ordered the game on Steam. Like, bro, I love From. But, it's like, you have, like anything else, like you have a kid or you have like a girlfriend or something. It's like, if they're struggling with something, you want to help them out. You want to guide them. You want them to do better, right? To get better, to overcome the issues that they have. And I've been waiting for a long time for From Software to overcome these issues. Now, to be fair, I will give credit where credit is due. Armored Core 6, the PC version of Armored Core 6, for the first time in all of history, the PC version of a From Software game. Actually, no, scratch that. Not the PC version, any version. A version of anything. Because other console versions have ran like crap too. But a game that From Software has made has actually ran really good, almost flawlessly on PC. And that's because they were doing a big hiring spree. They were hiring people that are familiar with DirectX, which is the development API that's used for PC. And they were doing a lot of that because they ran into a lot of issues with Elden Ring. They had no idea what they were doing with Elden Ring, the PC version, and any of the other versions. But with the PC version in particular, it was so bad that Valve, the creators of Left 4 Dead, Half-Life, Portal, Dota 2, and Steam, called them out and said these guys didn't know. They don't know what they're doing. They have no idea what they're doing with DirectX 12. And Valve went in and fixed Elden Ring to run on Steam Deck flawlessly without any of these other stutters themselves. And they made a comment. They're like, the guys who coded this, they have no idea what they're doing with DirectX 12. They're lost. So it's like, bro, you got called out by Valve, dude. Like, what the fuck? So they went in, they hired these, I guess, PC DirectX 12 engineers and made Armored Core 6. And Armored Core 6 is the best game they've made in terms of getting it running technically on PC. The console version has the same bullshit ass fucking problems that every freaking FromSoft game has had. The PC version was good. So I will give I will give Elden Ring credit where credit's due. Unfortunately, Elden Ring Night Rain, I think it's Night Rain, right? Runs like shit. And a lot of people have been they've been thinking that it's because it's using the old engine. It's using the old Elden Ring engine, and it's just built on top of Elden Ring and not whatever new work they did with Armored Core 6. So hopefully whatever game they get out after, they got the, what is it, the vampire game they got, the Crimson Blood or the Blood whatever for Nintendo Switch 2. Whatever that weird PvPvE game they got going on, whatever that comes after that, we'll have a PC version probably. And hopefully it'll run well. And hopefully it'll run well on consoles too. And hopefully that vampire game or whatever the vampire, like Dust Bloods, the Dust Bloods. Hopefully the Dust Bloods will run good too on Switch 2. But you know what, guys? Looking at Elden Ring 2 on Switch 2, I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath.
Beginning, going through the menus, creating a character. I picked the warrior with the two swords. And then we entered into the tutorial area. Inside the church, the game ran fairly smoothly, but as soon as I exited out into the open area where the grafted Scion tutorial boss is, everything started to chug really badly. Spinning the camera around from left to right really showed the frame rate drops.
It's like the first
Standing
boss.
still, it was fine. The pixel count looked great. It actually looks really detailed and really good on the small Switch 2 screen. I gave the game a pause, went into the menus to see if there was a graphics or performance mode that I can choose from. There wasn't.
No.
It seemed to be just one standard mode with HDR switched on. So the whole game was in
Silky
HDR.
smooth 30 FPS.
Again, looks lovely. Lighting wise, it was just any type of camera movement, it began to chug. And this, you know, if you played Elden Ring before, camera movement is very important. You're doing a lot of circling, you're doing a lot of dodging, and you want that high frame rate when you are attacking bosses. Coming up to the Grafted Scion itself, I was pretty much instantly killed because the button placement on the Switch 2 is slightly different to the PlayStation 5, which I normally play it on. Obviously,
I
the
fucking hate
Nintendo...
that, like Nintendo, and this has been a thing since forever. They reversed the circle and X button, or like the B and A button on an Xbox controller. They reverse it. So like you have to press the circle button to like say yes and confirm, and like you have to press the A button to like cancel. Like it's like, I'm sorry, the X button to cancel. And like if you look at this controller here, you know, like you have to press, this is the button to cancel. This is the button to say that yes, you want to actually like do whatever it is you're doing. And it's like, what? God dang it, Nintendo. What the fuck?
Button placement is always slightly different, but when you have a game like Elden Ring, which is complex enough already, trying to figure out what button did what on the Switch 2 was very confusing. I tried to stash one of my swords and dual wield it, two-hand it, but it took me about 3 minutes to work out what did what. I was, you know, going for my Estus flasks, which I didn't have yet, and
Estus.
just got very confusing. I finally managed to sort it out though, and got killed by the Grafted Scion, and went into the early tutorial place in Limgrave. Now, the underground section of Limgrave starts off with that section where you can drop down into the tutorial area. I skipped that because I wanted to see how the game performed when you went up the lift and out into Limgrave.
Oh man, this is gonna be good right here. Because this is the open world part, and that's always
Making
punishing.
my way up that lift and then sitting by my first sight of grace was fine. It felt normal,
Really?
and I had no complaints there. But again,
Wow.
as soon as I opened up those double doors and entered into Limgrave, and you see the Erd tree in the background, it started to chug. Spinning the camera from left to right really showed how much the Switch 2 was struggling rendering that massive environment. From there, I ran up the hill to the church. I spoke to Carle, the merchant. Around this area, the performance wasn't too bad. Again, sneaking through the woods towards the site of grace, where you meet the Finger Maiden and get the ring to summon Torrent, was okay because there was lots of foliage and I was moving slowly through the field. The performance didn't feel as bad there, but jumping onto Torrent once I got him and running through the middle of that town that's right by that site of grace just felt so sluggish and jarring. And that was about as much of the game as we played in handheld mode because we had to move on to something else. But yeah, those of you looking forward to a smooth performing Elden Ring on handheld are going to be very disappointed.
Wow.
It may perform better in docked mode. Again, we didn't get to try it docked, so I
wouldn't be
can't comment
surprised
on
if it
that.
still runs bad. It's like the whole going from PS2 to PS3 thing.
But for any more information on
Like,
Elden Ring
they just
Tarnished
managed
Edition
to
on
use more
Switch 2,
power
make sure you stay
and
tuned
make the game
to
run
IGN.
still below 30 frames. Like somehow they just managed to, like, whenever they get more
rays
power,
of
they just
grace
gotta. It's like
that guide
they
you
want to be
through your
below 30
burden.
FPS. It's like that's the goal. Yeah, man, I can't wait to see like how the game runs when it comes out. And people are gonna, of course, be going like they'll be saying, "Oh, don't worry, there's gonna be a patch and everything's gonna be fixed." And it's like, tell me, oh you sweet summer child, you sweet summer child. But yeah, by the way, Elden Ring is fantastic. It's a really great game. Just really well made, really good. I still think the best one is Dark Souls 1, but it's one of the, like, I think Elden Ring is like really just an incredible game. And it makes me curious to what they're gonna make. Are they gonna make an Elden Ring 2 after this, or are they gonna do something after the Dusk Bloods? I mean, or are they gonna do something else? I don't know. Very excited. And it's like, when is it gonna come out, right? Because it's already, man, like they haven't announced anything, right? So it's like Dust Bloods comes out next year. So it's like probably their next game is gonna be probably 2027, which is like when the PS6 comes out. So it's like, man, yeah, it just takes so long for games to come out now. It really sucks. Uh, thanks by GT67. Um, thanks for the follow on Kick. Yeah, I try to be here most days. um, but yeah, I'm gonna be um, I'm gonna be that's it for today. Thanks guys. I'll try to be on earlier tomorrow, but you know, I always have trouble with that. Um, and yeah, thanks for following the stream, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at YouTube V4 reacts. And thanks, Zoe. And I will be here tomorrow. So peace.